So let's talk about the Golden State Warriors, because I think this might quietly be one of the most important off seasons in recent memory. And no, that's not some over-the-top attention-grabbing hot take. It's real, because when you combine an aging Steph Curry, the mid-season addition of Jimmy Butler, the current financial situation with the team, and a young core that still feels like it truly hasn't been unleashed, you get a team that's at a real crossroads. And this year's draft and the situation with Jonathan Kuminga, that might just tell us everything we need to know about where the Warriors are headed in 2025 and beyond. Now, before we dive into everything in this video, real quick, make sure to drop a like and subscribe. It only takes 5 seconds, plus you can always change your mind. We are on the road to 60,000 subscribers, and with your support, I believe that we can get there super fast. Alright, let's start things off talking about the NBA draft, because while the Warriors didn't make some massive headline-grabbing move, they may have just pulled off one of the smartest drafts in the entire league. And that is Alex Toohey and Will Richard. And listen, I get it, these aren't the kind of prospects that are going to blow up on Twitter or dominate summer league coverage, but if you actually watch how the Warriors operate and how they have operated over the past few years, you know how they scout talent and build rosters. These two guys might be perfect fits. Let's start with Toohey. He was picked 52nd overall after playing in the NBL with the Sydney Kings, and he honestly looks like a classic Warriors role player in the making. He's 6'8", 223 pounds, so a good frame there for the NBA, and he has a very high basketball IQ. He averaged 10.6 points and 4 rebounds in the NBL while winning the Next Generation award. He's not elite at any one skill, but he's solid across the board. He can switch on defense, he makes the right reads, keeps the ball moving, and plays with composure. That's everything the Warriors need out of a rotational wing. He's not going to demand the ball or try to do too much. He definitely fits. And the thing is, the Warriors didn't even originally have 2 picks in this range, but instead of using their 41st pick on a single prospect, GM Mike Dunleavy moved back, trading it to Phoenix for picks 52 and 59. Then they acquired pick 56 from Memphis to grab both Toohey and Will Richard. And to me, that's a very smart move, especially when you realize that Richard might be even more NBA ready. He's a guy that just won a national title with Florida and was one of the most well-rounded, mature players on that championship roster. He averaged 13.3 points and 4.6 rebounds while shooting 48.7% from the field and 36.1% from 3. His coach literally said, if we had 13 Will Richards, we'd make the Final Four every single year. And that says a lot. He's another glue guy. He plays tough defense with his 6'9" wingspan, makes smart cuts, shoots over 35% from 3, and he makes the extra pass. He's not selfish at all. No, he's not like a flashy player, but he's the kind of dude who could eventually thrive in a system like Golden State. And with the way the Warriors are being built now, more about toughness, defense, and spacing, he might get minutes sooner than people actually think. And listen, it's not just blind optimism. The Warriors have a track record of finding late round contributors. Santos was a second round guy who made the playoff rotation. Quentin Post played real minutes last year and had his option exercised. Moses Moody took time, but eventually he blossomed. So when they draft a player like Toohey, who plays hard-nosed team basketball and already has professional experience in Australia, you pay attention, especially when you've got Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler on the floor, because in that context, it's not about being a star, it's about doing the little things, and both of these guys seem wired for that. Toohey especially has shown flashes of being a very versatile piece. He's not just a perimeter guy. He can get out in transition, handle the ball on the break, and even finish through contact. You watch his film and you see a guy who understands spacing, who communicates, who rotates on defense. He doesn't have a ton of highlight reel plays, but he makes winning plays. The one real knock on him, if there was one, is his shooting consistency. He only shot 31% from 3 in the NBL last year, and that has to improve. But if he can bump that to around 35 to 36%, he'll stick in the league. Now, that draft alone makes this a successful offseason on paper, but the elephant in the room right now is most definitely Jonathan Kuminga, because the latest updates from reporters and Bay Area insiders paint a complicated picture. The Warriors extended a $7.9 million qualifying offer to Kuminga, making him a restricted free agent. Reports suggest that he is seeking a $25 to $30 million per year contract, but the market has been surprisingly quiet. Teams like the Miami Heat, Chicago Bulls, Sacramento Kings, and even the New Orleans Pelicans have been mentioned attention as potential suitors for sign and trade scenarios. Now, here's where it gets interesting. If Kuminga takes the qualifying offer, he becomes an unrestricted free agent in 2026. That gives him full control of his future, no matching rights, no team leverage, and that might actually be the best path forward for both sides because, while Kuminga clearly has confidence in himself, and you have to admire that, the Warriors aren't going to overpay for potential. They've been burned by that before, and the truth is, Kuminga's situation is still really fluid. He had stretches last year where he looked like a future all-star. His physical tools are off the charts, but there were also long stretches where he wasn't in the rotation, or he struggled defensively, or he just didn't seem engaged. The consistency isn't quite there yet, and that's why this standoff is happening. He believes he's a $25 million player, but the league hasn't seen it enough to offer that kind of deal because that's a big commitment. And from the Warriors' perspective, they're not rushing things. They already have Jimmy Butler, who was acquired mid-season and helped spark their playoff run. They still have Moody, Post, and of course Steph Curry. They could use another big or wing, sure, but they're not in desperation mode. If Kuminga wants to bet on himself, they'll take the discount and give him a role. If not, they'll move on. But make no mistake about it, this is a major turning point because if Kuminga does leave after this year, the Warriors are going to need one of these new guys to hit, either Toohey or Richard, or maybe even a bigger free agency swing. The Warriors are currently $111 million over the salary cap with limited flexibility, so internal development is going to be the key. And let's not ignore the bigger picture. The Warriors are trying to rebuild on the fly. Steph isn't getting any younger. Jimmy Butler is in win now mode after his mid-season trade from Miami. Draymond is still around even though he is more of a podcaster now at this point. But the new look roster has to start clicking. It can't just be the Steph show. They need complementary guys who know how to play smart basketball, defend multiple positions, and knock down open shots. That's what the draft was about. That's what these roster decisions are about as well. So, did the Warriors get better? Yeah, I think they did. Not in the flashy headline-grabbing sense, but in the way that matters. They added role players who fit their system, they made smart cap moves, they avoided overpaying for potential, and they kept their options open. If Kuminga explodes this year, great. You ride that wave and maybe re-sign him at market value. If not, you move on. You let guys like Toohey and Richard develop. You trust the process, and you keep looking for those pieces that fit next to Steph and Jimmy, because as long as you have those two, you've got a shot. But one thing's for sure, the Warriors aren't done, not even close. Whether it's through another trade, a G League breakout, or a mid-season veteran addition, this roster is going to keep evolving, and the way they handled this draft and the Kuminga situation, it shows they're thinking long-term. They're still trying to win now, but they're not mortgaging the future to do it, and that's the balance they're trying to strike. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you like the draft picks? Do you think they should trade Kuminga? What do you think the Warriors should do right now as we are in the thick of the offseason? And if you made it to this point and enjoyed this video, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe because your support truly does mean the world. I think we're going to hit 60K subscribers before we know it. And let me know what you would like to see next. And until then, I will see you all later.